Okay, well, we should probably, it's 10:01. We only have an hour, so we might as well get started. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's great to see you all, and welcome to this kickoff meeting. It's kind of our first kickoff meeting for the community in terms of for the new theme, Year of Water Fluxes. And the overall goal of this meeting is basically just to see if we can all kind of collectively brainstorm to see what are the initiatives that we're all really excited about pursuing related to this theme. Margaret, if you don't mind going to the next slide. So thank you guys so much for your awesome responses to the registration about your interests. We got a lot of wide-ranging responses. I realize the font is small, and unless you have amazing eyes, I'm sure you can't read any of these. The colors give some ideas to kind of commonality of themes, and Margaret will elaborate on that in a few minutes. But if you go to the next slide, you can see this awesome Wordle that Christine put together, at least showing, the most common words that showed up in all of our survey responses. Obviously, other than water and flux, you can see ET was really commonly mentioned, remote sensing, workshop, synthesis, measurements, data. So keep those in mind as we're moving through today. So what I want to do first is I'll run through this agenda and then pass it off to Margaret, who's going to give us some background on this theme from AMP perspective. Then we want to open it up to you all for any announcements that you have that you want to make sure people know about upcoming workshops and activities that are related to the theme. And then we want to do a couple breakout groups. So we want to see if we can break out into smaller groups to facilitate discussion and facilitate brainstorming, again, to see if we can come up with some initiatives that we're all the most excited about pursuing in the next couple of years. Russ Scott and Gilboa will give us a brief introduction to the breakout groups. Christine is going to send us out into 5 random groups. We're all going to be talking about the same topic simultaneously, and then come back and then reshuffle into 5 new groups. Again, we're all going to be talking about the same topics, and then come back for a short wrap up. And if you are not interested in going to the breakout, or you have some questions for AMP, Margaret's going to stay in this kind of main plenary so she can facilitate discussion of those things. So, all right, I think that's it. Margaret, handing it off to you.
Thanks, Marcy. Well, we thought it would be nice to know, well, first, let me just thank you for that. And we're really excited about the Year of Water Fluxes, which is going to officially launch March 21. So it'll be we'll start in a water year, South American water year. And that way also it can last for 2021, 2022, but it's still 1 year. So that's for us, just keeping track of whether it's really the year of water fluxes. Yeah, and I'm Margaret Torn with the AmeriFlux Management Project. And we're really glad that you all are joining us. So the first thing we want to do is just see where people are who are joining us. It's just a very quick poll. And Christine put the link in the chat, but you can also use this. So if you haven't already, there's 2 very quick questions. I'm going to turn it over to Christine just for 1 minute. So Christine, I'm going to unshare my screen. We'll just take 1 minute with this. We may not get everybody answering. That's fine. As soon as I can find my cursor, I will unshare. Okay, there it is. Oh, hey, everyone. Oh, it's so much nicer not to share the screen and see that there's 71 people here. All right, so we have people from Switzerland. Oh, Guelph, nice. Worcester, all over. Germany, that's awesome. But let's go to the next one, which is, where are you really right now? Yeah. Home office is a little vague. Which room is that? I'm in my basement, but I didn't type one in. Nice. Desk. Hardly. Right. Okay, not too many cafes yet this morning. Cool. Thanks. Great. Well, welcome wherever you are. And we'll keep going. So, as I mentioned, this is a theme for network action. What does that mean? We kind of see these themes as galvanizing the community for science, ways of people coming together. It can enhance the visibility and impact of our work. We try to increase data quality and availability, give more new and complete measurements, and create a lot of opportunities for research and for applications of our science. The first theme year was the year of methane fluxes, and that was launched 2018. And we had a lot of great success, in part because there were some partner communities, the Permafrost Carbon Network, Powell Center, Coastal Carbon RCN, and especially, and I'm sorry it's not here, the Moore Foundation funded Global Carbon Project on methane flux. And we doubled the number of methane measuring sites, had a lot of methane sessions, and so on. So we think it was really successful, and it's time for a new one. There's many amazing science themes for water in AmeriFlux. I'm not going to go through these today, but there's also many new potential partners and audiences for us. And we see this, I put regional networks, ICOS FlexNet up there because we're launching this just from AmeriFlux, but everybody, all Flux regional networks are doing something with water fluxes. And so we see this as an opportunity to work together. So Marcy showed you this table of very fine font of what people responded. And oh, I've already lost my first one. This should have been up there. Okay, well, you can already tell the first one. Let me move this out. This is my very high-tech poll, guys. My very high-tech poll is that you get to guess what's under these envelopes for the top one. So you have to unmute yourselves. And because I switched slide decks really quickly, I uncovered ET Fluxes. That was number one. But that was so easy, you already got that. And there's no point in giving you any credit for that. So, especially somebody who hasn't, oh, I've stopped sharing. Let's see. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Sorry. Okay, what was second? What was the second most common response out of 133 people who responded for this meeting? And especially if you haven't spoken at one of our meetings, we want to hear from you.
A couple guesses coming through the chat.
Okay, you could read them.
Sapflux, Russ is suggesting free coffee. We have drought or stress and soil moisture.
All right. Drought stress. I'm going to put that there. Land, atmosphere, and climate. Okay, what's number 3? Okay, well, what goes really well, just like that cup of coffee and cream, what goes really well with water for Fluxies, for Flux people?
We've got
Carbon.
remote sensing coming through the chat.
Okay, well, carbon, water. We're going to keep going.
Energy balance closure.
Okay, Russ, what topic for the breakout did you want?
Water data.
Yeah, water data.
Improving water data.
I'll take that. Measurements and sensors.
Measurement.
It's a good thing we're not really playing for money. Okay. And the next one, I'm just going to let you see what they are. Land and water management. So a lot of people interested in agriculture and also water management. Then
are others seeing,
hey, Chris,
sorry,
what?
Hey, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the little envelopes disappearing. Are others seeing that? Is it just me?
Oh, I told
Same
you it's
here.
low tech.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. All right, well, fine. We'll just do one big reveal. That's fine. That's very funny. Okay, no problem. this is it. So thank you, Chris. I'm glad someone's looking. So a lot of different topics that people are interested in, which is super. And we don't have to choose. This is a theme year when everybody can pursue different topics. And we had workshops, education, other, and I wanted to show you a little bit about what was under there, because there's a lot of interest in special issues of journals, having a speaker series, outreach to other networks, data management, food, energy, water nexus, and water security coordination, and the early career network. And we'll hear from Gabriella on that soon. So the AmeriFlux Management Project can help in some different ways, or we'd like to help if you want us to. We can help convene workshops. We can provide technical support, connect people in groups. Say you want to start a special issue. Can we help if you are shy about reaching out to an editor? Hold trainings or help you hold trainings. And we're working to provide sensors to those sites that don't have the complete suite of water cycle measurements. So we hope overall we can help raise visibility, and maybe that can even create new funding opportunities. Unlike the year of methane, which had some organized groups going on methane fluxes, there's a lot of work on water cycle, but there's not a really specific partner community. And so we're going to hire a water cycle postdoc, both to organize community activities and to help with research synthesis. So there's a job posting here, and Christine is going to put that in the chat as well. So please encourage people to apply for this postdoc. I think it'll be a great opportunity for them. But really the activities and outcomes are up to you, whatever people want to do. So this is now time for community announcements and suggestions and questions. And we have a couple. Gabriella, if you are there, we're going to just have some super quick ones, and people are going to put detail in the chat.
Yeah, so really quick, we have 3 events that we're hoping to integrate water fluxes and studies with. So the first one is going to be our 2-day April workshop. We don't have a specific date, but one day is going to be a panel. We're searching for some panelists, and the second one will be a Python coding workshop. In August, we'll have a Twitter conference where it's going to be completely online for 1 day, and we're partnering with iLeaps on that. And then don't miss our next webinar that we're having this Friday. We'll talk about SIF, remote sensing, and some energy budgets. So we are seeking volunteers, and you can always contact us.
Cool, thank you. Manuel?
Yes, so we're planning a community workshop on like linking atmospheric boundary layer measurements with surface flux measurements. And really the broad theme is that we want to bring together the atmospheric science and like also the ecological community, the micromet community. And that resulted from a white paper that we wrote together with like 20 people last year. And it's really about how we can better link our surface observations to the atmosphere. And obviously that has a lot of implications for evapotranspiration, cloud feedbacks, and so on. So we don't have a date yet. It's going to be probably 2 days in May, end of May, June. And for now, we have an organizing committee with Celia from UCI, Young Yan from Lawrence Livermore, Andrew Richardson and Eric Beamister from NAU, and myself. And we're still looking for some people to join. And if you're interested, you can just click here on the link, give us your information, and we'll contact you directly. But there will be also community announcements, so you won't miss out on that.
Thank you, Manuel. Maybe you can put the link in your email in the chat. Or maybe Thanks. And one last one that we have sort of pre-populated, and then we'd like to open it up to other questions, announcements, suggestions from everyone who's here. Bunker?
Oh, okay, I can unmute now. Okay. Hi, happy first day of meteorological spring, and also the first day that you could submit papers to this new special collection for advances in scaling and modeling of land-atmosphere interactions. This came about from a group of us, primarily starting with the Cheesehead Field Project, which many of you have heard about, with Stefan Metzger, Matthias Mauder, and Brian Butterworth. But we decided to open it up across a number of AGU journals, and any topic that broadly advances land atmosphere, especially from field campaigns, long-term measurements, and certainly maybe things from this year of the water outcomes. So links there, take a look if you want to send your papers in. Happy to chat with you in private if you want to discuss your paper more.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to stop sharing for a few minutes and just open the floor. If anybody's working on something or we need opportunity or has a question, anything at all.
This is Stefan here. Hi. I just thought I'd quickly add to Ankur's announcement of that special issue. It seems like, Margaret, in the survey that you did, interest expressed that ET mapping came out of one of the very important topics. So I just want to point out that this type of special issue could also be a nice outlet for this interest group.
Thanks.
Yes, I have a special issue that I'm also working on as well in the journal Atmosphere. The paperwork's still being processed, but it should be announced shortly. It's focused on student research. So if you have an undergrad senior project that really had good results, but fairly small, limited impact work, or a first chapter of one of your graduate students' thesis that would otherwise not have a good venue. Like I said, I'm going to have a special issue in the journal Atmosphere coming out pretty soon, focused specific on kind of smaller scale, single plot specific work or otherwise, hard to get published stuff. So keep an eye out for that if you've got good, like I said, student-led research.
Super cool.
When will be the deadline of that? Because there'll be a few of them that will pop up from research this summer.
Good point. Yeah, I've specifically asked for a longer deadline, so it is December 1st. So we'll have plenty of time, ideally, to get summer research, kind of worked through the process and submitted by December 1st. Good question.
Super. Anything else people want to mention? Just looking at the agenda. Run over time. Sebastian, in about 2 minutes, you're up, Sebastian Bureau. But let's see if anything else going on. Any questions, new ideas? What about bad puns? Water puns? Could we have a couple? Just a couple? I know I'm opening the floodgates for something, but I just want to do it anyway. Okay, Bob Dylan songs with water themes? No, all right. Well, heck, in that case, Sebastian, why don't you go? And then if we have a few minutes before the breakouts.
Great. So let me find my screen. Okay, I guess I can share this. Great. So as Margaret just told you, I mean, this is the right time for us as the AmeriFlux Management Project to push on water carbon cycle observation in support of the year of water flux. So usually when we set up new priorities for instruments, I mean, this reflects, innovation in the space of new sensor capabilities. We've taken into account environmental conditions at specific AmeriFlux sites, the need of data users or input from the science steering committee and site PIs. So most of the push we have for new instrumentation is bottom up, which is very specific to AmeriFlux, right? Other networks are very standardized. For us, we take into account, the bottom up approach and what is proposed by site PIs and data users. So what we've done recently is we've gathered information from site PI to augment water-related observation, and specifically saltwater content, water table depths, total precip, saltwater potentials at AmeriFlux. And we wanted to find out what type of measurements are currently collected by site PIs, or PIs would be interested to add to existing collection of observation. And specifically, that would be relevant for your water flux theme years. So the survey was sent like on January 21st. It was targeting AmeriFlux sites that are running now and for continuous measurements, except for water table depth. So that could be, not continuous. 51 PIs responded to the survey, about 109 AmeriFlux site PIs, so about 30% of the currently active sites, which is not bad for site surveys. 98% of the PI reported that they're measuring total precip at 98 sites using a tipping bucket gauge. I mean, when they do not measure precip at their site, it's because either they rely on a weather station located close by. 90% of the PI say they measure saltwater contents. That's 46 of the PI that responded at 101 sites, and mostly using Campbell Scientific TDRs. And when they do not measure saltwater content, it's either because it's not dated, the soil is saturated, or the salinity is too high. What we see is definitely room for improvement for water table depth measurements and saltwater potentials, where only 45% of the PI measure water table depth, 23 PIs at 36 sites, usually using Campbell Scientific or Hobo pressure transducers. 40% of the PI measure saltwater potential, that's 7 PIs at 13 sites. And so that's where we think there's a lot of room for improvement. What was also interesting is, although more PI reported that they measure water table depth than we can find in the AmeriFlux archive. So there might be also effort for us to augment the number of measurements published within AmeriFlux. And I think maybe my 2 minutes are up.
Thank you, Sebastian. That is a super lead in to one of the breakout discussions, but we still have 2 more minutes or so for other thoughts, questions, announcements. So I would like to take 1 more minute, but I will say that you guys are awesome on the song titles. We didn't have this with Year of Methane, I'm just going to say. So that's another great thing about the Year of Water. Yeah, and there will be a whole breakout to discuss who's measuring what and so on. And I think SAPFlow was not part of that survey, Tertian. So good question.
Yeah, and there's a few things that we can add, but we want to hear. We have ideas, but we really want to feedback from the community, right? As I said, I mean, this is a bottom-up approach. We don't want to say we're going to do this. We want to hear from you, from the community.
Yeah. Great. And so great announcements in the chat, but other people can feel free to unmute. We have another minute or two. It's great to see all different people here than at some of our other meetings, like people working at agricultural sites and bioenergy and Lightcore. I want to say there's one person who has attended all of the AmeriFlux Management Project webinars and this seminar, and that is Dave Johnson, who's also here today. So I think we should give him like a little Zoom applause anyway, and an award. We have a special award for like most consistent attendance. So thanks, Dave. Oh, there you are. He's like sailing out there. Nice. All right. Well, maybe this would be a good time to introduce the breakouts. So I'm going to turn it over to Russ Scott and Gilboa. But let me remember, that reminds me to say, Russ Scott and Marcy Litvak are the co-chairs of the AmeriFlux Science Steering Committee. And the Science Steering Committee has very nicely offered to help convene a coordinating committee for the Year of Water Fluxes. So yes, everyone can go do things. You don't need anyone's permission, let 1,000 flowers bloom, or 100. But if you would like to help coordinate activities or initiate, then contact Marcy and sign up. All right. Okay, right on schedule. I'm going to share my screen again, and hopefully this will work better. That was great before. I discovered new things about how Zoom works. Yes.
Okay, thanks. Good morning, everybody. We're going to do 2 breakout sessions today, and we're going to do them in parallel. So we'll all talk about breakout the 2 topics that we're going to be discussing. And the first one is going to be on water data measurement improvements and sensors. So, and then Gil will be introducing the second topic. But we all want everybody to go out into little smaller groups and have a good discussion about these 2 different topics. And so the topics that I'd like you to discuss in the first breakout would be, what are the most used or underutilized aspects of AmeriFlux data with respect to the hydrological cycle and why? And I want each one of the group leaders, each one of the breakout group leaders to prioritize the top 3 to 5 answers for each one of these questions, so we can bring these together in a family feud type of way. So the second topic would be, what specific salvageable hydrological data is currently collected and not being submitted. So maybe many of you are tower PIs that don't submit all of your hydrological data for some reason, and would like to hear about the reasons why that data is not submitted, or is there ways to get that data brought forward and then put associated with your site. And then the third one would be, what specific water measurements are we making well, and what are we making poorly, and how can we improve them? And then the fourth one would be, what data are currently not available but be relatively straightforward to add to Flux sites to increase the value of network data. And that's getting back to Sebastian's poll and ways that maybe additional sensors can be added that would really help improve the hydrological measurements or the understanding of the hydrological cycle at your site. So those are the 4 questions. Again, in your breakout group, to try to develop the top 3 to 5 with your breakout leader, and looking forward to hearing what your answers are. I think Gil's going to introduce the next breakout session, and then we'll jump out into breakouts.
Right, so the second breakout session is about synthesis workshop and ideas. We are not trying to steal your leading idea for synthesis and publish it ahead of you. We are trying to form collaborative efforts to either launch new synthesis analysis that will not exist otherwise, or if you already have an idea and started working, do you need help? Do you need to identify other data resources, people to contribute data that is not on AmeriFlux, help you interpret the data that's currently on AmeriFlux? So in that vision, we'll kind of have this kind of small workshops with self-identified groups that want to work together on some topic or other. We will help you set up your own little workshops in the near future, kind of come toward a meaningful synthesis, which kind of try to help facilitate both locating, identifying, and collecting all the data, and then the analysis if you need help with that. What we try in the workroom is kind of look for ideas. Which do you have ideas that you want help with? Do you have ideas that you want to contribute? Do you have some crazy ideas that you think someone else should be working on, but you don't have time to do them at all? And names of people that actually want to pick up the effort and lead some of those ideas that think that they can benefit from the collaboration and the enthusiasm that hopefully is generated by this year of water. And yeah, the goal and for that breakout is to come up with workshop ideas, analysis ideas, and list of people that want to contribute to those workshops, either to lead them or think they have unique data or unique analysis approach that can benefit those analysis.
Thank you. Shall we fly?
Yep.
Great. So